Welcome, everyone, to this episode on the power of partnering with the guides for conscious leaders and entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited today to be joined by three of our extraordinary clients and partners in Divine Transmissions to go deeper into this topic of the power of partnering with guides, which also includes ourselves on our higher our higher counsel, our higher self counsel. And so we're joined by Selke and Galaxy and Denise. So hi everyone, so glad you're here.
Hi, everyone.
Hey there.
Hello.
Yeah, so we know that it's a new paradigm, that kind of what we were taught or conditioned in the old paradigm of consciousness uh, no longer applies. And yet making that transition from what is expected or what's known or kind of one size fits all to really forging our unique path as conscious leaders. It does require some tuning in or some going in and up, as the guides and I say. And so, yeah, I'm just curious to hear, and maybe Selke, if we'll start with you, kind of what you would share about the partnering with the guides and how that supported you, and also, yeah, just introduce yourself and we'll kind of organically chat.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Silke and I'm with you, I think, about a year now. So relatively short, but so much has happened that I really feel it's 12, 14 years. And to me, the one thing that stands out above all is this peer-to-peer, eye-to-eye, divine to divine, light being to light being communication with the guides. This shift from asking for help to co-create. I think that is a huge step that really, at least in my life, changed a lot, and also in my energy work and yeah, and in my spiritual business, changed really a lot.
Yeah, so you're talking about how there in the past we've been kind of taught that we need an intercessor, or that there's a power over under relationship with the divine, or with our clients, or with those that we connect with, to really that place of equality and co-creation. Yeah. And that is a big change in
Definitely.
yeah. And so would you say a little bit more about how that might have shifted for you in how it is that you walk in the world?
I think one of the things that I recognized as most outstanding is that in the past there was also always a feeling that I had to learn something or to do something before I could really dive deep into a co-creation with my spiritual partners and my light beings. And now I just do it. It is a given, and I don't have to do any preparations around it. Don't have to be or to get someone else that I'm not, or be better or whatever. I just as the being that I am, I just can switch it on and co-create without further ado.
hmm hmm Yeah, yeah. So it also sounds like a recalling, and that's something I love too about partnering with the guides, is that we all have these masteries or divine capacities, and it's less about some 7-step system or whatever, and
Yeah.
more about an environment where you become more of who you are, and recall those connections that you have. So what are some of the ways that you apply your partnering with the guides? Like, what areas of your life?
So I'm very fond of meditation. I do a daily meditation in the morning, and in the past, it used to be a lot about cleaning myself, clearing myself, and a lot of prerequisites, before I started to be in the meditation. And now I just sit down and I invite everybody, my own council of light, divine light activation beings of light, Magdalena, beings of love, all the stuff that I'm into in the academy and in working with you and the guides. And I'm always curious to see who shows up and then just let it develop. I very seldom have questions anymore. It's more like I sit down and invite everybody to share and then download what comes. And that's for me a huge, huge shift to what was before. And I feel that as I do it in this way now, it makes it a lot easier to understand or to recall the transmission of the morning during my day. I'm very often reminded, that I have seen it in the cards or heard it from a guide when I encounter things in everyday life. So it makes it easier, but also for me much more. I'm much more aware of the guidance, not only when I sit in meditation, but throughout the day.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and then how do you feel like it's accelerated physical plane creations, or, because I know for you, you've really like birthed a modality and done a whole bunch of stuff on the physical plane. So how do you feel like that's, what have you created, and how do you feel like that's accelerated the process?
So I think these losing all these or not having to fulfill all these prerequisites gained me a lot of time actually, in which I was able to create. And I have set up two programs, a year-long program, a 3-month program. Um, as I have gained clarity about my highest mission and what is the unique thing that I can bring to the earth, I was pretty clear about the clients that I want to speak to. It was not like I had the feeling I had to get everybody on board, but I'm very happy with those people who are really a match. And I think it's a different way of energy work. And I also have to say this switch from one-on-one sessions, doing only one-on-one sessions, to doing to doing programs most, and one-on-one sessions only if it's really requested and it really matches, has changed my way of work totally.
Yeah, great. Okay, anything else you want to add? And we may circle back, but
Yeah, well, that's fine for now, I think.
thank you. So exciting. Yeah, Galaxy, how about for you? What would you share about the power of partnering with the guides and kind of this being in the new game, the new paradigm, the new evolution in consciousness?
Thank you. Well, I would say I've been blessed to feel like I have a pretty strong galactic connection for a while. So that's a gift that I feel like I entered this field of creation with. However, where I have really had to focus is how to get all that support that's up here in the galaxy, how to really connect with it in the physical plane. And I know that's something that you have a strength in bringing out, and that's what I feel like I've been focused on during our time of co-creation together. And so I feel really blessed that uh, certain uh, certain types of support that in the past might have seemed very elusive or challenging, now it's like, oh, they're there. And I feel like I'm on the cutting edge of trusting that more and more. Like, even if I don't have a certain resource right now in my physical plane, I can't like quite touch it right now. I can trust that, oh yes, when I need it, it's going to be there. So I feel like that's something that I'm calling in more and more, and appreciative of this work for bringing forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're really talking about like what the guides and I talk about, and like the dissension spiral, and that a lot of individuals talk about ascension, and yet we're really all about, and each of you are as well, having an embodied massive spiritual advancement. And so that is often such a gift too, to be able to translate frequency and energy, and to create in the physical plane, and to have those things be descending, or to make sense. And especially when we feel so different than how energy runs on the earth, or how others are doing that. So is there anything that you would say about the partnering, and how that supported you to be even more of your unique self, and navigate kind of being what the guides often say, one of one, rather than fitting in with how things often operate here?
Sure, sure. Well, I also am non-binary, which is a word that I don't necessarily love per se, in the sense that when we say somebody's non-binary, it's describing them based on what they're not. Oh, you're not binary. Okay, but what are you? So I'm not using that word based on it being a word that I totally love, but because seems like the best word that currently in English we have to describe what I feel, which is just feeling, that I've got all these qualities within me, and I don't feel comfortable being in a box of having to be feminine or masculine, or whatever. I'm just feel like I'm a part of the oneness, and I do feel like that's also part of the particular star family that one particular star family that I'm connected with. It's just all about being balanced and whole. And so coming into this earth plane and into a culture and into a language, English, where there's a fair amount of gendering that goes on, with has been, predominantly the he or she, in terms of pronouns, and then, family relationships described based on gender, brother, sister, daughter, son, all of that. So it has, I've sometimes just felt a little bit like I'm not really, connecting to all of that. And the word non-binary has given me like a way of like sort of like an earth plane way of describing what I feel inside. And I do feel grateful that you have that support, and the guides have that support for we're just here to be what we uniquely are here to bring in, not necessarily to fit into a box. And it's easy to say, well, yeah, let's just not fit into a box. Sometimes it can be more challenging to actually live it out, and to go forth and to explain to somebody, oh, I use the pronouns z and zer, as in z is writing zer book, and to actually have conversations with people who maybe this is something new to them, that could be a cutting edge for me. And yet it does feel like that's part of claiming that I can be who I am. And I'm also in claiming that, holding space for others to be able to be who they are. So there's that gift aspect as well, that as we claim it for ourselves, we open up the space for more and more people to step forward in whatever unique ways they want to step forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that and it is interesting, right? Because there's always the labels, and yet I think a lot of us feel, as conscious leaders, as light workers or star seeds, that we're from another galaxy, out of this world. And then how is it that we navigate something that is so different from our origin, or from our home star? And I know one of the things, Galaxy, that you've shared is also that increased visibility. So would you say more about that, and maybe also in the expression of your contribution?
Sure. Yeah. So I feel like, it can be easy to say, well, let's not hide our light under a bushel, but yet, stepping forward into connecting more with others has been part of my growing edge. And I do participate in a lot of in-person expos, holistic expos, where I do reading space in the Akashic Records, and I sometimes give talks and whatnot. And then I've started to have more of an online presence. I actually got onto MeWe as a part of our working together, the social site MeWe. And I just also, want to acknowledge that when I'm tuning in for guidance, I'm always getting the message of, oh, do this. Oh, let's expand in this way. So I am always being taken to that growing edge, so to speak, and I'm really appreciative of the sense of, we that when we're on track with our mission, that's when we're the safest, so to speak. It's really not even about being safe, but staying on track with the mission is what helps the way to open up. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, beautiful. And then as we also talk about, and I feel like it's part of the oneness, like breaking down the barrier of our work and our life, or personal and professional, or contribution and play, or those kinds of things. I know that you've also kind of reconnected to some body embodiment in terms of running and your house and those kinds of things. So is there anything you'd add about that, which maybe is more personal embodiment, but still a part of the wholeness?
Yes, well, I do feel like I have an appreciation for the physical dimension, for being on the earth plane, even more. I definitely would have said, like, coming into this lifetime, that I was still, like, a part of me was perhaps more connected to the stars and connected to the earth. and on a sort of like a wisdom level, I've known, oh yeah, we're here to be uh you know balancing both, having that connection to the stars, for those of us who really sense that as a part of our mission and purpose, and yet also having that connection to the earth plane. And I feel like now I'm really enjoying being the bridge between both, and really making that connection more and more real. So yes, it's just as exciting to uh, be in a home and get the space all arranged in a way that works and flows well, as it is to go out and give a talk, as it is to, you know, cook a delicious meal and really savor the food. So I do feel like that appreciation of what the earth plane has to offer and what this body temple has to offer, I've really, I'm grateful to have expanded in that way.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anything else you want to add?
Uh, Not for now, but just it's a delight to be here and to be with everybody. I really appreciate all the team support that we have here in this group.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you each for being here. And for those of you tuning in, I find it just so refreshing and supportive too, when we can gather in a panel and share our experience in a very unique way, rather than like conceptually, really to hear from folks who are living from the new paradigm, living in this way of partnering with the guides and partnering with energy. So Denise, what would you contribute? And hello.
Hi, where to begin? And it's so wonderful to hear from Galaxy and Selke, because they're a part of the community that you've been building all these years, Danielle. And I was just counting, and yeah, you and I got to know you 8 years ago through your book, the Council of Light book. And it just I just was savoring that book over a period of time. And I turned it over and saw, oh, she's got a website. And then it all began, right? So I'm Denise of Divine Cosmic Alchemy, and I'm the Galactic Numerologist and Soul Path Coach. And all that came through in working with you and the guides. And this journey, like from the beginning, I was like not awake, so to speak, like not knowing. I was really playing in the 3D world of separation until just about the time that we met. And I when we met and we began partnering with guides that some of them I've never heard of before, and yet it felt so much like home, and it opened up so quickly that I couldn't get enough. So it was like I went from, I always say I went from zero to infinity. And everything, like everything that you guys have been saying also, and reflecting with working with the guides, what really stands forward for me is that there's been so much transformation that when I even go back to reflect on kind of the old duality, it's not even a part of my feeling body anymore. It's not a part of who I am. It's like reading about it or talking about it from a book, a story. So that transformation has been absolutely incredible. And also in the beginning, like not knowing that I had all these guides besides what I knew in religion, right? And the guardian angels and all the saints that I knew. Then all of a sudden that, Mother Mary was not just Catholic. and that all, there's other tons of other archangels, and we're not alone here on earth. There's all these great cosmic beings. Really, I just like that fed my heart. And then it became trusting like what I was getting from the inside, not from the outside world, and from my guides. So that was that trusting, because and the other thing I want to say too is like working with you, Danielle, and this is what I've seen in all of your community, and then this is also what's coming forth for me. The people that are resonant, that are attracted to this, they're ready to jump in. It's time. And so you have that infrastructure, you have the energy, you have the programs and everything to really just jump in and open up, and there's no going back. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that I've continuously admired with you, and I feel like you're talking about it, but just to tease it out a little bit more, is that transition from, kind of fitting in and going along to not only accessing the guidance and then choosing to follow it or not, right? Like, because that, I always say that's two different steps. And sometimes people block receiving guidance because they think they need to do it. But that goes back to what Selke shared, where we always have a choice and it's partnership and we co-create. But really having the guidance to and the courage and not even courage, because it's just when but I've seen you, Denise, do that where you've chosen the path less traveled, and because you've known it from your higher self guidance. And on the physical plane, like when we met, just so many things have changed from the job that you had and completing your all that, because you were talking about kind of the past, seems like another past life, to then birthing your own bodies of work and creating your business and all of that kind of stuff. So what would you say about that? Like when somebody gets the guidance to forge their own path and it is different, where do you feel like you have that that clarity or that spark or that knowing to follow it, even though well-meaning people that love you may say, well, what are you thinking or what are you doing?
Yeah. So it's almost like doing it the other way, like the old way. It just wasn't working. It was like listening to the outside world just wasn't working. And so I knew there was like there's this inner guidance going on, and then the guidance from the guides. So there's always all that support. And then that guidance just like it just opens up so many doors, and you never know, like you might, we all have a direction, we have desires, and yet it's so much more, it's so much richer, so much deeper, and so much more expansive when we follow that guidance, and from our guides, from our inner self. And then when we're following like that, the outside world guidance, I mean, this is how it was, and it's like you just keep bumping up against things where it just, the path is open. that's another thing I want to bring in too, in working with you and the guides and all the different people I've met in your community, Danielle, is that it's about forging a path has never been forged before. We're here on the earth in this lifetime to bring in a new golden age and to be in an ascension process of connecting our divine self with our physicality, and so that forging, we don't know. We've got to rely on that inner guidance. Because there's no path. We're creating the path as we go along. So, yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything that you would share about kind of like physical plane things that have changed or that you've created?
Yeah. So, so I was, I always use the example of, I was in a marriage for 20 years and it just didn't feel resonant with who I was. There were so many things. And so that was one of those things where I knew I had to get out of it. And then the outer world was, family and friends were like, can you do this on your own? But I knew, and I just kept going, and so much opened up immediately. I mean, it was like really right during that time that I did the DLAs with you, and I started traveling, and things were opening up. And then as galactic numerology came in, as you call it, the opus level body of work. So it's something major that comes in for this lifetime as a contribution. It's like a whole different way of maneuvering life and guidance with numbers. And so that has been really in the forefront for me, and utilizing numbers in a whole different way, because they're everywhere, and there's just so many ways that we can use it multidimensionally as well as on the physical plane. So
Yeah. So what you're sharing there too is that as we do bring forward our unique contribution, and what the guides talk about, like the genius evolutionary stage in consciousness, that we also expand even more fully than reading 1,000 books or taking 10,000 programs or whatever those things are. So I'm really hearing a theme too about uniqueness and being in coherence with our highest path and our mission. And it is a straddle time where their old paradigm and the new paradigm both are existing in simultaneity. And so, that word bridge, I believe galaxy, you said, where that there's still some ways that is how the earth functions, and yet we can still be in our frequency and vibration in a unique way. So I'm really hearing that ascension, descension, ascension in what each of you shared. So any closing words of wisdom that you would share here if anyone's tuning in, Selke, or any reflections since we first began with you?
Never ever think that what your mind can imagine is all that there is. There is so much more. And if it comes up to you that you're probably not from the earth plane, this doesn't separate you out. It just moves you into another group of beings who know what you talk about, and who do want to be a bridge, like Galaxy says, or who are navigating through everyday life like Denise does with numbers. There are many ways to navigate the Earth Star. And don't feel alone. There are people out there. You can meet them in all of Danielle's programs. And the groups are very dear to my heart, because everyone is so unique and so different, and everybody can just be like the being is, and that is absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. Galaxy, how about you?
Yes, well, just encouraging everyone to believe that you too can be the bridge between heaven and earth, between the stars and the earth plane, and that really in each moment we're being a bridge. We're being called to bridge what we're hearing from our guidance with what we're seeing and experiencing in the earth plane, and to trust the unfolding. I like what Denise said about how it's, we're here to create the way. It's not been laid out before, and so yeah, it's a moment by moment process, and trusting and enjoying the adventure is also part of what it's about.
Thank you. Denise, how about you?
Yes. And so there's a little bit of drilling going on. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. And in one of the things that I love that you say all the time, Danielle, and the guides is like using use your body of work to create your body of work. Like that is such a foundational, because in other words, what we have within us, what we're creating within us, that it's like a jumping board, a springboard for everything else that we want to create in our life. So it's already within us. And so we can utilize that for everything that we're creating in our life. So I love that part of it as well.
Thank you. Well, thank you, each of you, for the joy of partnering together with me and the guides, and for sharing your experience of how to navigate living in this uncharted yet very exciting time. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode on the power of partnering with your guides as conscious leaders, and that it really is a co-creation, and one in which the difference of you is what matters. So sending much love and appreciation, and bye for now.